Welcome back to the Kingsway Podcast.
Welcome.
We're glad you're here.
This is going to be a great episode. It is also one of the most culturally, flash in the pan.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you watch this in a month, you'll be like, wait, what?
Yep.
If you watch this in a year, you'll be like, who are any of those people? So really, most of today's episode is just kind of unpacking a social media, Christian influencer, cultural phenomenon thing.
Yeah.
That's a little dismissive of what it actually is, but that's kind of the gist is hey, something went on.
Well, and what's funny is we had talked about this a little bit in a previous episode in the intro.
Yes.
Of just something was going on. I think it was almost a month ago. And it was one of those things that I was just I was perplexed and amazed by it. It was kind of a cool little thing that takes place online. And here's why I think it's worth talking about, even though it may be a flash in the pan. It's around the discussion of social media, interactions online, and how to leverage, use,
also just how the camera's on everyone all the time, even if you're not an influencer and it's not a literal camera, every post, I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole and say that we're living in the world where Bo Burnham's prediction from 5 to 10 years ago is right. I think 10 or 15 years ago, where he said in the couple hundred years ago and before, there was massive world conquest and what's the word? It starts with a C. It's where you take over stuff, and Britain was in one place but had an empire all over
colony.
the world. Colonization.
Mm-hmm.
They're colonizing all the land. Mm. Well, that kind of ended a while ago. Yep. There are people squabbling over land like Russia and Ukraine and whatever. But for the most part, we ran out of land to colonize. Either we go find more land on the moon or Mars or whatever, or we colonize a new thing.
Yep.
And that's what all of marketing and billionaires and companies that are looking to get, how can I wring more money out of all our consumers, whatever, they're looking for a new thing to colonize. And so they're colonizing our time.
Yep.
They're trying to take up every hour of the day with commercials, with everything. Every second of your day is trying to be, and that's why influencers are a thing, where 20 years ago it was just celebrities.
Yep.
Because celebrities have been given access by the industry somewhere to do something.
Yep.
Maybe it was kind of Nirvana, garage band, and tripped and fell into public knowledge, but most garage bands didn't.
Yep.
But now you upload on SoundCloud and everybody's online all the time because they've been lured there by the way all of social media and the internet is set up. It wants to colonize all your time and get as many ad hours and minutes and seconds as it can.
Absolutely.
And so we're all drawn to this place. So that is why it feels different. But I kind of went way too deep on that.
No, but that's healthy to understand. I think the tension at the center of this whole thing, because even though this is a feel-good thing that we're talking about, and you've seen the title, it's not, this is awesome.
It only exists because of the internet world we live in.
Yes, and it's, I know we've talked about it before, John Krasinski's Only Good News podcast or whatever it was called.
Some Good News?
Some
SGN?
Good News.
Yeah.
And it was really good back in during the pandemic because you just needed to have some positive things on the internet.
Yeah.
And this feels like one of those instances, and it feels a lot like there's a redemption factor, a redeeming factor, a full circle. And so to lay this out, I think it's important to kind of understand, because if you're not aware
of, talk about what happened.
If you're not aware of these artists and what we're about to mention, it's okay. We'll explain it to a degree, but just know that the circles and the people that we're going to talk about are primarily on TikTok and Instagram. And
you'll see them on the places I live, like YouTube Shorts and
you
Facebook
will.
Reels.
They'll get there a couple days later. That's normally how I say it. They'll just get there a couple days or a couple weeks later. And this story now, I think, has had that enough traction that those have trickled down to...
Yeah, Relevant wrote an article about it. Relevant's a Christian magazine. Anyway, let's tell the story. Let's start from the beginning.
A very original thought is, I think, almost 6 weeks ago now, Forrest Frank, who is, I think, written some of the only bops of the summer. I don't know if there was a declared song of the summer, But if you're in a Christian circles, they definitely had multiple songs over the summer that kind of came in. Your Way is Best. Even the Savannah Bananas were doing it. I mean, like the dance that goes along with it.
Yep.
But he was about to launch one of the largest tours, not even of Christian artists, like of an artist in general. Had like, I think 12 large venues like booked all over the country, and then accidentally falls in his driveway and skateboarding, messing around just before, I guess, or with his kid, and breaks his back. And we had mentioned this before. Not good. Literally has to go get an MRI. Gets like told basically you got to just lay in your bed.
Yeah. And you can't lay in a bed in 12 venues.
No. So I had to pause everything.
Dance around and whatever.
So he decides to record a song, and he goes, in his own words, for the low hanging fruit, God's got my back. And he writes this song over like kind of a time montage over the course of a couple hours.
Legitimately a super catchy, good song. Like,
it is.
Songwriting wise, good song.
And it was really fun to document the process, and then he put it out there. Well, because he documents all that, shows like the fall and all this, well, guess what happens? People start dancing to his new song. They start like basically like praying for him in large amounts of groups.
Which is a little bit of what I was talking about with the colonization of time.
Yep.
That's part of what something going viral is. It's like, oh, we want to be a part of this moment because this moment is very short and very valuable. And so we have to jump on. So people create dances to it, and they're doing the dance and posting themselves, whatever.
Yep.
Christian artists. Some other artists, maybe.
Well,
but
and
Christian
there's
artists
two,
catch on.
Absolutely. There's two, like I would say, unknowns. There are these two guys called the Figs, and they make a reel because they see the amount of momentum that this post is getting on TikTok and on Instagram,
and just how big Forrest is as an artist.
And so they make a silly little video about how to write a Forrest Frank song,
which they've made videos about how to write a Mumford and Sons song.
All kinds of artists.
They're more folky in their own thing than anything Forrest does.
Yep.
But yeah, they put out their most recent how to write a whatever song, and it's how to write a Forrest Frank song, and they do, and it's kind of good.
It's kind of good.
It's a little. It's not mocking him, but it's like this is what Forrest would do. Some like mumbly lyrics, like and
they actually use,
and then they put the words later.
They actually use a phrase from his post to make the song.
Yeah.
So it's like they use his words to kind of help write the song. And the song's called Lemonade. Jesus turns lemons into lemonade.
Yeah.
Very catchy. I think it's almost better than God's Got My Back, if I'm being honest.
Agreed.
They go back and forth through social media posts of like, we wrote this, and then Forrest just goes, where's my verse at? And so then they respond with like, and through the course of like a week, they actually put a song out together through just these posts on social media.
And the Figs, the two artists who make up that group, they're some Christian camp counselors, along with having a little band.
Yep.
And they are like working on the song with Forrest and get to put it out a day early to their camp,
which was so cool. Their youth group. And what's cool, the direction the Figs have actually gone, they've gained so much notoriety since the songs come out that they're actually launching their own little mini tour. With their band. In response, and trying to put out some new music. They have some really funny reels right now on their Instagram. It's really, hey, put out new music? No, just stay. It's like, and so from that, of course, that's an amazing story. We talked about that, and then literally days after the song comes out, Forrest puts this amazing post up about how he just realized he'd been walking around all morning and just picked his son up and didn't realize he wasn't hurting, and that it was only 2 weeks from when he had broken his back.
Yeah.
And so he put the brace back on real quick because he wasn't sure what was going on, and they went and they took an MRI and took x-rays, and his back's healed.
Yeah.
Now,
so it's like
crazy.
It's like for other people, it's like, look at this viral thing. For him, it's like, this was ultra devastating.
Yep.
But I trust in God more than I trust in this like world tour level, whatever. And then God made some really good stuff out of it. Some of his best songs came while he was laying on his back. And then God made some really good stuff with this other artist. And like, it was really great and just blessed each other and so good and lively and fruitful. And then God healed him. So it's like in a couple of weeks,
it's
so much has happened. and he's pointing it all back to God and like, look at all these blessings and miracles.
It was so cool.
Like God's timing and all this stuff. Meanwhile, other artists are like
taking note
and are like, this is a trend.
Yep.
How can I weasel my way into this trend? Weasel is probably the wrong word. It sounds too malicious. But like other artists are like, oh, this is
it's
really
a hype
going.
train. I mean, it's a hype train. It was
How
really
do I jump
was.
on?
How do I get on this train? And I saw Chris Mullen. I saw Chris Tomlin. I saw multiple artists.
I didn't see Chris Tomlin. I wish I did.
Oh, he wrote one anyway. And one of the ones though that came out first that wasn't, I think, in the tone of anything other than just legitimately perfect timing with some of the things that have gone down is David Crowder, a famous Christian musician for like probably the last, his Illuminate album in like 2023 or 2003 was amazing.
Yep.
But anyway, he broke his foot, broke his ankle. And so he makes a jesting, but I think honestly, kind of fun
He's legitimately wounded.
Yes. And he puts this video out of like, all right, I need Forrest's help. And so he writes a song, or he asks for Forrest's help, and Forrest writes him a part of a song called Standing on the Rock. And Forrest asked him to write a verse, so they put a song out together. Then they go back and forth again, and so they put this song out called "Standing on the Rock" by him and David Crowder. And it's from there that I feel like the saga was kind of like at its pivotal, like, oh, this has been fun. This is kind of a neat thing, and then it starts to take a turn that I didn't know how I felt about it when I first saw it. It like you ever
I knew
watched
how I felt about one specific.
So
one.
I knew how I felt in the sense of like, ooh, I don't feel like this is good, if that makes sense. But I also felt like, where is the line? Because like, so what ends up happening is other artists start making videos.
I've only seen Crowder and Corey Asbury, who we're going to talk about a lot.
Oh, see, I have probably
Those are the only two
four
I've
other
seen.
artists.
Okay.
Shameless Reels did one that responded to Corey's. So like,
Are you talking about Shama, the comedian?
Yeah, Shamla Reels. It's anyway.
I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Shama.
Okay, I also have heard it as Shameless Reels because of the way it's spelled.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm gonna look it up.
so he responded as well to what Corey did. So Corey Asbury, who I dearly love and is one of my favorite artists, probably in the last 5 years, he came out with a satire of him lying in bed asking for Forrest Rank, just like Crowder had, just like the original video from when Forrest had been lying in bed, and instead
is this real?
So it is real. He did have a vasectomy, and he did write a song about needing healing from it, and it was totally a joke. And it's one of those things that he wrote it. It's not necessarily what I would say vulgar, but it's not necessarily also perfectly clean.
It's CSI vulgar.
Yes.
He doesn't drop a single curse word.
No, it's just
But also
descriptive.
talks about stuff that you're like, whoa.
It says things like snip, snip, snip. You know, like just things that you're like, ooh.
Got a good line in there. Spread the gospel, not my seed.
Yes, that was, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway,
I just need to say, I saw that the moment he dropped it and thought it was hilarious.
Yep.
Thinking about the trend,
Yep.
not thinking about what God is actually doing in Forrest's life, the miracle, the like fruit that's come out of it, and how this mocks that. I was just thinking, this is a really funny take on that trend.
yes, and that's
all I thought about.
So the other ones I saw were like someone that had stubbed their toe, someone that like had a cough. Like it was starting to like go to a level of like, oh my gosh, silly, and like it
in
wasn't
a silly mockery way.
It wasn't full mockery, but it felt cheap. If it makes sense.
Yep, agreed.
And so what ends up happening is Forrest does what he has been doing all along. He responds to Corey's post, but instead of reacting, instead of reacting, he pauses the song like 2 seconds in.
Yeah.
That when Corey starts the conversation where he's like, hey, I know I've been seeing these and I probably it's like my 10th one. And I have to say, like, I don't know how I feel about it. And he does a great job of explaining. He's like, I probably am just a little sensitive.
And he was like, you all are going to say, yeah, Forrest is just too sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then he says, it was one of the most painful, devastating injuries / moments of my life.
It was one of the scariest moments of me and my wife's life, is what he said.
And so he basically says, like, he's got 2 great lines. He says, like, social media does not come with a seatbelt. He's like, so whenever a post goes out to this, I'm just well aware that, like, younger kids, junior high and high school, are seeing it, and it's taking away the attention from some of the cool things that God did, and it's starting to make it further and further away from originally what it was about. And he's like, I want to make sure that everything we're doing is actually unifying, not necessarily
and glorifying God.
And so he said one of the things that happened was the minute that stuff started to come out, he went and looked at the comments on Corey's post, and it was not good. And he was
vile.
Sad about
as vile as you think Corey's post may have been. The comments were way worse.
And it was like, so anyway, he puts this out to Corey and, says, I just want you to think about it. And I'm not telling you not to send it. I'm not telling you to take it down. I just wanted you to be aware of what I was thinking. Well,
and he also says, I did write you a song.
Yes.
In that very first video.
The very ending of that first video, he writes him a song about feeling misunderstood. And so he talks about how, like, there's just this feeling of, like, I feel like I'm being misunderstood in this situation. And I have felt misunderstood in my entire life. Well, Corey, of course, because he's got a heart of gold. I love
he
the man.
He does have
a
heart of gold. He is also a, like, scheming meme lord.
100%.
Like, whatever. If you look at Corey's reels, this isn't out of left field.
No.
This is every spot on the roster.
It is on brand for his personal life.
He has some really funny... semi-mocking, but more just like making light out of things that aren't very important, but that we kind of hold important or whatever. It's kind of his thing. So, like, I was almost expecting something to come back from him that wasn't that way. But you're right. He did come back with something
and here's
high
the
class.
Funny thing is, like, I feel like he's really fun and he really likes to have a good time. But when it comes down to it, his heart is always for, like, repair, restoration, peace. He obviously is the artist that wrote Reckless Love. So he himself mentions, as he responds to seeing Forrest's posts about how he did not mean it the way that it came across, he realizes sometimes humor can go too far, and that he wanted to try to repair the relationship. And he also recognized how difficult it is sometimes when scrutiny comes in. With Reckless Love, there was a ton of backlash around the lyric and what was chosen. Anyway, so he ends up writing the second verse to the song in response after apologizing profusely. And then I think my favorite video came out after that, which was Forrest's response, which you were thinking was going to be Forrest's response to Corey's post.
Yeah.
But what it comes to find out is Corey and them had talked privately before any of those had been, before his first response and Corey's video had gone out. Yeah. And they had repaired and talked on the phone. And Forrest said some just amazing things. Like, I had all this, like, reservations about whether this guy was, like, what is he doing? Like, why is he? And then the first seconds on the phone, I felt like we were good. 10 minutes into the phone, I felt like, did I just make my new best friend?
Yeah.
Like, they were.
And he was like, I wasn't sure how he'd feel. And now talking on this video, I want him and his family to come to our house and have dinner.
Exactly. And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And you know what was the best? I think my favorite part about the whole thing is that at the end, Forrest basically says, like, it only took one phone call for us to go from enemies to friends. And he's like, I think that's more common than you realize. Yeah. And it's just one phone call to go from enemies to friends. And so I think for just the way that, like, the whole arc of the summer, because this Forrest has been in the limelight and been trying to navigate this, like, social media, like what you would call influencer landscape. And he's doing things that normally you would just ride the wave and you would just take all of the attention that you could get, and you wouldn't put any kind of damper on that or any kind of pause button on that or any kind of, like, I don't know, you would just laugh and go with it, right? Just to get everything you could out of it.
Yeah.
And so it made it even more genuine that I felt like he slowed things down to have the conversation.
Last data point on this story as of the moment we're recording this. We're recording this on Tuesday, September 2nd. And it's going to come out Thursday, September 4th of 2025. They're supposed to be releasing this song at some point, and it could be like today, could be this week, whatever. But it's supposed to come out soon, and that'll be both of their verses and then whatever else they want to do with it. Just them coming together and talking about being misunderstood. And how that interplays with like their faith and all that kind of stuff. So that's the end of the data points we have access to.
Yeah, and I think that's where I want to just maybe end this, because I think it's just worthy of you guys maybe even going and look at those videos. Like, I hardly ever feel like we recommend, like, go watch these shorts. But, like, go watch these reels. But it's such a fun journey. You can go find them on Forrest's page. I'm pretty sure he's linked them all. But one of the parts of this that I was struggling with the most was actually watching other artists that had done the satire pieces not apologize.
Yeah.
And it got awkward. And a couple of them I was actually following before, and I'm actually not following anymore. And I'm not specifically like gonna down anybody, but it wasn't because they didn't just apologize. It was like they were going on their stories and they were like doubling and tripling down.
It's okay that I did this.
Yes.
And that they're
taking it
and reeling from it, and that they want to make amends, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's when it's the same thing when like other comedians, especially non-Christian comedians, they'll make fun of a minority group or handicapped people or people from a different nationality or background, and they'll be like, or a different sexual orientation, and they'll be like, "What? I'm a comedian. It's my job." And it's like, what part of being a comedian makes you exempt from being a human? Like, you can be a good person and strive to be a good person and still be a comedian. You can make jokes that you think are funny and that you realize are actually hurtful and pull them back and still be a comedian. None of that exempts you from like basic human dignity and like, I don't know. Anyway, it's just
it kind of felt icky.
Yeah, it's icky. That's the best way to describe it.
Because I think what I was struggling with was just like, I think I could deal with them. Even they were saying like, this situation maybe needed a little bit more sensitivity, or I think when it's not a situational satire, but it's a individual satire, and that person is personally asking about whether or not this is healthy or whether or not this is one of those moments that is worthy of satire. The mockery seems to fly in the face of something that, like, normally why satire is funny is because it's actually something that other people see. The like, ooh, this is like not something that anyone's getting hurt in. It's just a situation that was ironic, silly, over the top. And I feel like it was like mocking someone's pain.
Yeah.
And it was hard.
They were trying to mock the trend. But what they're actually doing, along with mocking the trend, is mocking the person, their pain, their experience with God interacting with the situation. And they feel comfortable to sit over in the corner and mock and ignore any
and I guess I'm curious what you
negativity.
think, Ryan. It's like, because in one way, like, you want to have freedom of expression, freedom of speech. But one of the things he pointed out was like, the world wasn't coming in hot to some of this stuff. Like, people that were not Christians, when I say the world, people that were not Christians, they didn't really care, about some of this stuff. But man, the Christians were angry and frustrated at, Corey's original post. And then, basically that's what Forrest said, is like, it's crazy how like I signed up for the idea of like having to sometimes feel misunderstood by the world, but I didn't sign up for feeling like I was going to be misunderstood by my brothers and sisters in Jesus. Yeah. And so he's like, that's what was so
the world
surprising.
Was silent.
Yes.
But my brothers and sisters mocked me.
Yes.
For a real experience with God.
And when more I thought about that, it's funny. It's like the world realized like we should not mock this, because if God really did do a miracle here, I don't want to be on the wrong side of that.
There's a conversation to be had for healthy, adult, mature Christian forgiveness and reconciliation and all that. And that's one big takeaway I want people to hear from this is people can reconcile. It's okay that you meant something and didn't think it would hurt somebody else, and then it did, and then can say sorry. It doesn't mean you're an evil person, and that's a skill that a lot of us need to get better at. If you're not great at that, start working on it. Start being brave and pushing yourself to ask for forgiveness and to apologize for stuff that, even though you don't think it was wrong, you know hurt somebody else and you love that person, or at least should love that person. And so you apologize because you love that person, not because you were absolutely and in all ways wrong. Anyway, I want to say that first to say, like, that's something we can all take away from this. But there's another side, which is the comedy mocking side. It plays into a thing that I got into a conversation at high school camp with me and a guy named Isaac Leach are the youth leaders for the upper grade high school boys. And they love doing that sort of thing to each other. I would say almost bullying, but like when it comes back around to it, they do actually love and care about each other. But it's like gentle playing turns into like fully like making jokes at others'
verbal
expense,
wrestling, right?
Mocking whatever. Yeah. It's yeah. Anyway, so we got in this conversation about, is rage baiting a sin? Which I feel like really plays into this conversation. And what they mean by that phrase, if you're not familiar with it, is like saying something, whether or not you agree with it, just to provoke anger in the other person because you think it's funny. The way I just said it is super condemnatory, but almost every person I've ever met
getting a rise out of someone,
human relationship with another person in the United States has like done something like this, or been a part of it, or laughed when it's done at somebody else's expense. So, for instance, we were doing it at camp. So they were like debating Michael Jordan or LeBron, and I was like, "You think Michael Jordan's number one? He was number 5 on the Toon Squad in Space Jam, just throwing out nonsense things that don't matter, but just like being a part of it for the fun of it and watching like people, whatever. It's kind of funny, but like the difference is when you see the other person's reaction and you notice they got hurt by it or are like uneasy about it and not like grinning or actually laughing or they tell you even if they were grinning or actually laughing, like,
it actually hurt.
That worked me up, and I feel whatever about it. So we had this whole conversation, and we're trying to draw the lines on like when and how is rage baiting a sin. And basically, we came to the same conclusion that Paul makes about meat sacrificed to idols. If it makes if it makes your brother stumble, it's a sin. It's a sin because you hurt your brother with that. If they don't feel like it's playful, it's not playful. So anyway, that all said, about a month after that, maybe a couple weeks before this video dropped, I saw a reel that said, "Is rage baiting a sin?" I was like, "Ooh, what do they think?" And they just pulled up a verse from Proverbs that literally, or at least almost literally, is like, so it's Proverbs 26, 18 through 19. Like a madman who throws flaming darts and deadly arrows, so is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, "I was only joking." Oof. And then the like Google AI summary. I'm trying not to use ChatGPT a lot, but it just brings up 2 others, which are both from Ephesians and are both about speech and how they build others up or don't. So 4:29, let no corrupt talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it might give grace to those who hear. Which we've gotten into this conversation before. Is cussing a sin? And I don't know if this is the official position of our church, but probably the 2 of us would say like not at all times and in all circumstances.
No.
Because you may have heard
the word
this matters. Says let no corrupt talk. Other translations say let no unwholesome talk. And you would think, oh, cursing is unwholesome. But that word wasn't originally in English. It's originally in Greek. You got to translate it, whatever. The context clues for what does that word even mean? So don't do the bad thing, do the good thing. The context clues are, what is the good thing you're trying to do? Let no corrupt talk come out of your mouths, but the good thing, only such as is good for building up. So is that curse word being used in a constructive way. You've talked about this before with your disc golf guys.
Yep.
When you had a baby or somebody had a baby?
And somebody else had a baby, and they were just talking about they used the F word to make fun of somebody and talk about something they hated, and then immediately describe that baby as effing cute. And I remember being like, wait.
That is
like,
technically in like 70 years ago. I don't know how else to say it other than that, but technically would fit in the unwholesome category, but was literally used wholesomely.
Yes.
Literally used wholesomely and used constructively.
And they did it with a smile on their face, excited for the person they were talking to, happy that their baby was good and cute. I know that's the struggle. I mean, here's the cool thing about the whole I don't even know if you've seen this post yet, Ryan, but
probably not.
Forrest posted, I think 2 days ago, of this like 8-year-old boy that went and talked to his bully after watching Corey and him make up, and the bully at school they had all last year. And he literally quoted Forrest and said, Forrest Frank, who I love, says, 2 enemies can become friends in 1 phone call. I would like to talk with you and try to become friends. And they're hanging out this weekend, him and this guy that they didn't get along. And Corey, I think, learned a lesson that Forrest was teaching him. And the idea is that Forrest knows who his audience is. Yeah. He knows who's listening and who he wants to be a good influence to and wants to make sure that he protects because he feels like that's his calling. Yeah. And his calling is to this younger generation of kids that are on these apps all the time and are watching this stuff. And when he said there's no seatbelts on social media, what he means is you don't get to sit there and help protect this innocent audience that's listening to this, that probably most of them won't be hurt by or won't be, but to some it will have an effect that you maybe you can't save them from the crash of where it could go and how much it could hurt. So I think it was kind of just a neat kind of conversation in the limelight that looked and ended well. Yeah.
I was so proud of them, and for everybody who's like made fun of it or said it's a media stunt or overblown or whatever, like you can have your opinion. That's based on skepticism and not evidence. Yeah. Well, at least to my knowledge, I haven't heard any evidence that it's
no. But and there's tons of receipts too. He's got text messages. He's showing screenshots. I mean,
but if that seems weird to you, which it seemed a little weird to me, I wasn't fully expecting it. It's because it's like heaven level behavior.
It is
of not like you've earned your way into heaven, but like where things are repaired and made right. And like, I don't know.
It was kingdom work. It was kingdom work. It absolutely was.
That's the way things should be, is that mature adults can come to each other, talk about their feelings, repair a relationship, and like move on. Yep. That you don't have to stick to your guns and your integrity over somebody else's well-being. Like,
I agree.
Whatever.
I loved it.
We can be wrong.
Because of how poignant and true it was to real life, but how it could be done even inside sometimes platforms that feel like they don't have the opportunity. All they do is destroy.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that felt weird, is all social media and influencers and upright tall videos, they're based around the idea that you should be constantly self-promoting and making yourself look better in all lights and at all times. And some people will take that and be like, I should always make myself look good. Other people will take that as I should always make myself in front of the camera. So like, good or bad, I think Donald Trump has the like, I would like to always be in the speech of the media. And if I'm not, I need to do something else to get in front of him. Yeah. Whether you like him or not, that's typically the behavior I see from him. Yeah. Or other people. So like other people who've been close to Trump and don't want to be associated with some of the negative headlines or whatever, they'll shrink back because they do want to be talked about, but they don't want to be talked about negatively. Yep. The crazy thing was, because of these two men's faith in Jesus, there we go. They both were willing to go online in front of cameras and apologize and look bad. Forrest was willing to look weak. Corey was willing to look mean. And both of them were willing to be vulnerable and brave in their vulnerability and go forward and do that because they love Jesus and because they believe in God's mission and how he made people and that people matter and all that.
Yeah.
That's just feels weird compared to
incredibly
all
rare.
the influencers who just want to post 90 times a day and just want to be in front of everybody.
It's so rare. It like made me stop every time a post came up because I was like, this is not like anything else I'm seeing, and I enjoy it. And that's why we wanted to highlight for you. Yep. Please go check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a little bit of a saga. It's even something you can show to your kids. I think that it's worthy of like showing this artist that most of them may know or sing a little bit of their songs. We played them at camp a ton.
Yeah.
Corey I've highlighted, and we've sang even songs onto his. And so I know that just watching these men act mature, come back together, it's a great example for kids and also just a cool thing to highlight. So as always, thanks so much for listening. If you got this far, leave us a review, share this with somebody. I think it is kind of a cool thing to bring to the surface that maybe even someone didn't. If you're living under a rock, you maybe haven't heard of it, but if you hadn't, you can share. And as always, leave us a comment if you like more videos like this. We don't always do like up new trendy things, but we couldn't overlook this one. We thought it was too cool. So as always, thanks, Mom, and have a great and glorious day in the Lord. We'll see you later.
See ya.